it's Sarah, and today I'm going to be doing a recent reads video for you guys. I am loving doing my recent reads wrap-up type videos like this. It's so much fun, and I just love the ability to just do one whenever I want, whenever I feel like I have enough books to talk about or feel like I have books that I really want to talk about. So I'm loving doing this recent reads, and I hope that you guys are as well. Today I'm going to be talking about my science fiction and fantasy reads. I've only read 2 science fiction books, and they're part of the same series, so that's not huge science fiction reads for me right this moment, but I am so in love with science fiction that I'm planning on getting a whole bunch of science fiction novels, so be prepared to have more of those. I got amazing recommendations on my science fiction and fantasy, or my science fiction recent reads that I just posted not too long ago, and I was really excited about that, so thank you guys so much for giving me some awesome books to look up and read, because it'll happen. So let's jump into the books that I have reading in the fantasy and science fiction genre. The first one I have here is probably my biggest accomplishment of the year so far, just because I feel that it is in my heart, and that is Voyager by Diana Gabaldon. I finished this book at the end of March, I'm pretty sure, middle of March maybe. Sometime in March I finished this book, and I was so excited to finally get this one under my belt. The next one is going to be probably my favorite, I have a feeling. But yeah, I am really enjoying this series. It is very slow paced, and there is a reason why I gave this one a 4.5 stars out of 5, mostly because of the character's placement throughout the novel, and the times that things happen between the main characters, the many times things happen. I just didn't like that, and if you've read this you probably know exactly what I'm talking about. I've had some mixed feelings about that, and a big chunk of this novel was very slow for me, and I wasn't necessarily super captivated by it, mostly because of what was going on with the main character, and I just didn't care. I just had a very strict thing I wanted to be at, point I wanted to be at, and I was trying to get there. So, but once I hit the first 300 pages of this book are really slow. But once I got past that, I flew through the middle section, and then the ending hit about page 700, and I was just kind of back into that slow pace, and then I finished it, and it was amazing. So, I gave it a 4.5 stars. Like I said, I will be picking up the next one. It's gonna be awesome. They are traveling to somewhere new that I'm so excited about, so I'm really excited to get to that one, and it is quite smaller than this one, so let's hope it works out. The next one that I have here is Son of the Shadows by Juliette Marillier. This is the second book in the Daughter of the Forest trilogy slash series. And this one I did not enjoy as much as the first one. I think I gave this one a 4 stars. A lot of this novel was very slow for me, slightly boring, and just not as captivating as the first one. I feel like the story, the main character, I think I had a bigger issue with. She was just very docile, and sometimes it was hard to get into the world, and like there was barely any action, and just the things that she cared about, I was just like, okay. So I had slight problems with that, but the writing is amazing, and the characters are relatively good, the world is awesome, but yeah, the plot is pretty much lacking in this one. I didn't see a clear picture of the reason for this story. But yeah, I really enjoy the writing style, and I really enjoy the world that Juliette Marillier has created. A fantasy fantasy historical fiction combined, and I'm really enjoying the world, but yeah, the plot is a very big issue. So 4 stars for me on this one, but highly recommend Daughter of the Forest. I really liked that one, and I am probably going to pick up the third one just because I already have book 7, so I am stuck to get through all of the books, which is fine, because I think, or at least I'm hoping, that they will get better as Juliette Marillier starts developing her writing style, hopefully. The next one that I buddy read with some booktubers. Actually, I read this one with Sana and Lindsay as well, and Sam, I think, reread it too. And then I read this one, The Crown Tower by Michael J. Sullivan. This is the prequel novel to the Rhaenyra Revelations series. This is called the Rhaenyra Chronicles, and this just follows Royce and Hadrian and maybe some other characters that are featured in the Rhaenyra Revelations. They you know, pop up in here and we get a little bit more backstory, namely Gwyn. Yeah, so follow some characters. This book in particular follows Royce and Hadrian's first meeting and first like mission together, as well as Gwyn, who is a main character in the Raya Revelation series, and we get to see some background on her lifestyle and like how she came to be who she was in that series, and then we got to see how Royce and Hadrian became who they are in their relationship together. So I really enjoyed this book. I gave it a 4 stars just because I think it was too soon for me to read this, just coming off of the Revelations series. I think that I needed a little bit more of a break, but I really enjoyed it. I love Michael J. Sullivan's writing style. His world, the Raya world, is just amazing. I love it. It's one of my favorites. He is now one of my favorite authors, and I highly recommend this series if you have a chance to pick it up. I would read this after you have read the Raya Revelation series, just because you have a lot more of depth to this novel. It adds a lot more, and you get to see a lot more that you've already read about, where if you go into this not really knowing what to expect, I feel like it can be a little bit confusing, and yeah, overall I think that you can enjoy it both ways, but I'd highly recommend reading the Raya Revelations first. The next one that I read was Paradise War by Stephen Lawhead. This book is about Lewis. He's an American grad student going to school in Oxford, and he has a best friend named Simon who finds this animal in the newspaper that's supposed to be extinct, and he goes to Scotland and tries to talk to the guy about it, and there's this whole Celtic myth going on, and it's a portal fantasy basically, and both of the characters find themselves in this fantasy world, and it's very interesting. I gave it a solid 4 stars. It probably could have been a 3.5 stars, but I really liked the first half of this novel. I think Stephen Lawhead's writing, and especially his contemporary or more modern writing, is very, very good and very captivating, very funny, and just very, I don't know, it's just something about it I love. But once we hit the fantasy part of it, I did not like it as much. I don't know if it was the transition between contemporary and fantasy, and maybe if I, you know, read the fantasy part of it, you know, all the way through where there was no contemporary, I would have enjoyed it more, but I just didn't connect with the second half of this book. I didn't care about the world, didn't care about the characters, didn't really care about anything. It lost its appeal. I just didn't like the second half of this book, and it really made me dislike a lot of it. I skim read a lot of it. But I ended up giving it a 4 stars. I won't be continuing on with the series. I mean, maybe in the future I might, but that's a very slim chance. Yeah, it was okay. It was okay. I'd recommend it if you are, I would recommend it just to see the first half of the novel and get to experience his writing, but yeah, I'd also recommend it if you like portal fantasies, because I don't know, something about portal fantasies I'm a little iffy on. I guess maybe it's just, I don't know what it is about him, but I'm not super sold on portal fantasies, so I don't know, maybe that was an issue. The next fantasy book that I read was Blameless, and actually this is the last one that I've read recently. This is by Gail Carringer. This is book 3 in the Parasol Protectorate series, and this is just a great series. I gave this book actually a 5 out of 5 stars. I really enjoyed this story. I enjoyed this series as a whole. It's really fast paced. I read this one in one day, and I don't know, I just really, something about it gets me. It's comical, it's romantic, it's really cool. It's got a lot of steampunk, lots of werewolves and vampires and just action, and the main character is really awesome and kick-ass, and I really like it. I really do. I like the audiobooks for this series, and yeah, I just highly recommend it. If you want to know what the first one is about, it's about Alexia Terabati. She is a soulless being, and she wants to join the BFR, BRU, be something that I can never remember. BFR? I'm pretty sure something. I'm never going to find it in here, but it's something like that, and they control or moderate the paranormal in this world, but she gets hooked up with something else, and there's just a bunch of action and craziness that ensue, and a romantic relationship that I am just in love with. So yeah, I really enjoyed this, gave it a 5 out of 5 stars, highly recommend it. Okay, and for the science fiction novels that I have read recently, I have read 2 of the books that I said, 2 books in the same series, and that was Fortune's Pawn and Honor's Knight. These 2 books follow Deviana, and she is our main character, and she lives in this world that's full of planets and different places to go. She is a Paradoxian, and it is a major, Paradoxians are a major culture in this world, and they have a god king and a lot of different things, but they also have a thing called the Devastators, and they are kind of like the king's right-hand mercenaries, I guess, and she wants to be one, so it's her journey in trying to get the jobs that will be, you know, cure her ambitiousness and get her the job that she wants. And she finds this Captain Coswell, who's got a lot of notorious background to him, and she gets hooked up with him and is a guard for his spaceship, and lots of action and trouble ensues, and it's just freaking amazing. I gave both books a 5 out of 5 stars. I highly recommend the series, guys. I cannot recommend it enough. If you like romance, I would recommend it. If you like science fiction, I would recommend it. It's very fun and great. The romance in the first one plays a pretty heavy part in the second half of the story, but other than that, the romance is very subtle. And the world building is amazing. I just am so obsessed with it. All I want to do is read it. I love Rachel Bach's writing style. I love the way she has told the story. I have one book left and I'm so excited to get to it. I'll be reading it soon. But the way she has structured her story is just phenomenal. Like, I can see the thought process and that she's going through, and I'm just gonna rave about it because I think more people need to read it. It's just very fun and fast-paced. Very, I was looking at the not so positive reviews on Goodreads, and a lot of them were saying that it was very light science fiction or a very light novel, and I can agree with that. There's not a whole bunch of depth to it, or I wouldn't even say that. There's not a lot of seriousness to it. And I think that that is a good thing in some instances. I just enjoy books that are a lot more fun than they are serious, so if you like that, I would definitely recommend it. I just really like this series. I really do, and I'm really excited to finish it out. I don't have any problems with it. I just am obsessed. So yeah, like I said, both books get a 5 out of 5 for me, and I enjoyed it a lot. If you want to see a more in-depth review, I will link my review for it down below. I go into a little bit more details about the world and things like that. So if you'd like to see that, it's down there. And yeah, I think that's all that I have. Those are all the books that I have read recently. Let me know down below what books in science fiction and fantasy genre you have been reading. Recommend them to me because I am always open for those. I think that is all that I have for this video, guys. Thanks so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Hope you have a great day. I'll see you in the next one. Read more books. Read more books. Okay, and I'll see you in the next one. Read more books.